Hey everybody.
Hey.
Oh, I guess I'm right here.
Guys, what's up?
Hey everybody. Welcome to my home. I'm Dr. Hatala, and these are my wonderful students. And today we're going to be talking about deal breakers in relationships. But maybe we could start by having everyone introduce themselves. We can start over here.
I am Annie.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
I'm Zach.
I'm Maddy.
I'm Will.
Outstanding. Well, so I have some various scenarios, but Zach, you wanted to say something at the beginning of this.
Right. I think we all agree that cheating is bad, and so we're not gonna discuss that one in this video.
Or we will at the end, depending on how much time we have.
We'll see.
We can leave it open. So, do you guys want to discuss various things, or should I start with scenarios?
I kind of like scenarios.
Yeah.
Okay,
Personally.
so here's one of the scenarios. Is, because folks are all college students. Let's say that your significant other wants to go on spring break with their friends and you're not invited. Is that a deal breaker, or is that within the realm of it's okay?
It's fine. I mean, like, in life, there are going to be things that your significant other, like, does that you're not included in, and, like, you just have to learn to be okay with it. Hopefully you guys have some sort of trust, so you can trust them to be responsible while they're gone. Like, hopefully they're not going to, like, Vegas and going to a bunch of, like, strip clubs, but, like,
Sure.
in the same sense, like, you just have to have this trust that they're gonna, like, take the relationship into
What if
consideration.
other people are taking their significant others?
Oh, well, then that's a whole different
That is a
story.
whole different one. Okay.
Is it?
I don't
Like,
know.
maybe if they're not. Like, if there's a couple in their friend group, like, I don't feel like that's
Yeah, I
a
guess
threat
that's
to my
different.
partner.
Oh, that's
No,
true.
but like,
You know?
what I'm saying is not a threat, but like, if like other, like, people in that friend group are like thinking to like include their like partner in the like thing, and then your like partner is like not gonna like include you, then it would be like, well, damn, like,
What's
why
wrong
not?
with me? Why can't I go?
Exactly.
Right.
So like,
It's like an embarrassment.
like from your perspective, like, yeah, it totally would be fine.
I was imagining that there's just like a couple in the friend group.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that would be like completely different. But if like say like all of them invited their significant others, and then your significant other didn't invite you, it would be like,
And that's like,
Excuse me?
there's something else you guys need to be talking
exactly,
about.
yeah.
I mean, for me, if I'm dating someone, then they and I that we share a friend group.
Yeah.
I basically
Yeah.
only date people I've already been friends with for a few months. So,
Well, and then the other thing that brings up is I've definitely known people who are that protective of their significant other that would be a deal breaker for them. But like for me, the fact that would be a deal breaker would be a deal breaker, because like if you can't trust that, like, even in a relationship you're still two independent people who have independent interests and may not want to be next to you at all points in time, then like that seems dangerous and I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So
No, and that's reasonable. Are we ready for scenario 2?
I think so.
Scenario 2. Your significant other has one of their old significant others come into town and they go out to lunch together.
it's just lunch.
yeah, that sounds like
Well,
that sounds like a perfectly normal scenario.
does it?
I guess it might depend on like how it ended. Like if they wanted to get lunch for like closure or something, then that could like make sense to me. Or like if they just wanted to like catch up, like maybe they ended like on good terms too, and they just want to like catch up as friends. I think if you trust your partner, then I think that you should be confident that nothing more is going to go on.
Let me throw this out there, Nate. Would you want to know beforehand or find out afterwards that?
Beforehand, probably. I feel like if you tell me afterwards, it's like you're trying to hide something, and it makes me a lot more skeptical. Like, even if I
Sure.
trust you, that's like a very significant piece of information that should be told.
Because what if one of your friends saw them out at lunch, and then that's why
They told you.
That's
and
why
find
they
out
tell
them.
you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Thanks, Ashley.
a lot of these, like, I don't know, I feel like trust and
It is.
independence are huge things for me. So, like, a lot of these aren't issues or deal breakers, but like the way I see it is even if they told you afterwards, so long as they tell you. Like, I feel like if you're not communicating, like, things that are important in your life to your SO, then, like, that is already a problem. And, like, I would be worried about the lack of communication of, well, if you went and saw them, I assume that was, like, kind of a big deal for you, you know? And then why wouldn't you want to tell me? Why do you feel scared to tell me?
But I think of this in the context, too. You guys tell your parents the truth, but you tell them an edited version, perhaps. Of the
Yeah, but
truth.
I don't like my parents like I like my significant other.
Yeah,
Well, that
the
could be a
significant-
thing.
The significant other knows more.
Yeah, and I consciously chose to have my significant other in my life.
This is true.
I was born into the lives of my parents.
This is true.
I didn't choose them.
Also, your parents.
but I will choose what I tell
You
them.
did also choose not to disown them, though.
I mean, it's still up in the air. I'm kidding.
Okay, well,
Well, the other thing too
Please.
is like with your parents, like there's the relationship of kind of like they are the superior and you are the inferior, and like that's not the relationship with everybody's parents in every situation. Like as you grow, that does change, but like that idea of like they once had the power to punish you, like I
Right.
feel like that sits with you for a while longer, and like not to like shame anybody's whatever they're into, but like personally I don't think that my significant other should be a father figure or a parent figure for me.
Yeah,
You know?
that's shaming you into behavior. Maybe if you joined the Amish or something like that.
But yeah.
Will, did you want to say anything about this, or should we go on to scenario 3?
I do think it depends a lot on the significant other. Like, for instance, if you have a significant other who is clearly still hung up on this ex and talks about this ex,
Oh, that would be.
yeah, that's a problem.
That's problematic.
Yeah, that's a problem. And also, if you just know who, like, I think it really does just depend on, you know, every situation. Because if you know the ex,
Yeah.
the ex is not a good person, like maybe was emotionally abusive, verbally abusive, whatever, I wouldn't be okay with that. Not necessarily for my significant other, but out of fear that, you know, she could be hurt again somehow.
Sure.
You know, I think you have to look at it in different ways. I think there's more than just trust with it, as much as, you know, you want to look out for your significant other as well. And if, you know, it's some jerk that, you know, like I said, like was awful to him, you don't want those feelings to come back. Because, you know, I
Of
think...
course they're a jerk because they're an ex.
Right. Well, but, like, you know...
There are reasons for breaking
Yeah,
up.
I was
There
gonna
are many
say
reasons
There
like
are many.
that's true.
like distance, like other things.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of things that draw a couple apart. Like incompatibility is just one
Of
of them.
course.
I just think of, like, my own significant other exes that have happened, and I know how they have been, so...
Sure.
And I would not be okay with that because of them, not because of my significant other.
So if they see this video, they should know you're not taking them to lunch. Scenario 3.
Sounds like they already do.
Yeah.
Scenario 3. You go to visit your significant other's family, and either, or well, you know, some combination of that. Either your family doesn't like them, or your significant other doesn't like your family. Deal breaker or no?
Sucks, but it's not a deal breaker. It just makes things a lot more complicated, I think.
Okay.
I think, okay, it really does depend on the relationship. I will say, I think it makes it a lot harder because I think even people that don't have a great relationship with their family, family does inform a lot of how we feel. And I know in the past, when my parents haven't liked someone that I was seeing, you know, that's all you ever hear about. So let's say, you know, like, I'm really close with my parents, you know, and I'll tell them things, you know. I couldn't tell them anything that bad would happen because then it'd be like, oh, well, yeah, you shouldn't be, you know, seeing this person kind of thing. It makes things so much easier when your parents like who you're dating.
Of course.
But I don't think it's a deal breaker because I don't think that's fair because we're not our parents, you know. And I think parents should, you know, respect, you know, as long with reason, obviously. I mean, I would understand, like, if I was, you know, dating a criminal that, like, was, you know, selling illegal drugs and killed people. Yeah, I feel like that'd be okay for my parents to be like,
An intervention.
right.
would you date a criminal who was selling illegal drugs and killing people?
No.
Did a nice personality.
That was a
I
deal
might
breaker before.
Dates
Yeah,
are-
exactly. That's the very irrational deal breaker. Like, if that, that would be the thing.
Are both parts the deal breaker, or is it the killing?
Hmm.
Because like,
Well, I'm
just
gonna make a comment about this because my parents knew absolutely nothing about my life. I mean, absolutely nothing. And so my mom would always say, like, you're not serious about that person, are you? And so, you know, and so I just dismissed it because they didn't know these people. But other thoughts? Is that a deal breaker or not really?
Everyone's looking at me, so I guess I'll talk. If my parents don't like them, I think it's different because they don't know the nature of the relationship. It's very based on first impressions. Plus, a lot of parents have like unrealistic expectations for the person you're gonna marry. Like, well, how much money do they have?
Right.
Like, are they like rich? You know, all this stuff.
What job do they want down the road?
Exactly, yeah. And I think that can influence like what they want for them, whereas you're just kind of like, well, I like this person, and you're just trying to find the things like that are very like external about them that you want to like. If the significant other doesn't like your family, I mean, I guess it depends on how you feel about your family. Like, if you also don't really like your family, then I feel like it's a lot more reasonable. But if you really like your family, I feel like it'd be more like, well, you know, like, my family's my family.
Right.
And, like,
And we'll always be there.
yeah, it's like we're not always going to be with the family, but, like, on, like, holidays or something, you know, you should expect to run into them.
Yeah.
From a generalized
Please.
perspective, this is kind of a question to everybody, but like, do you think that when your family doesn't like your significant other, that those relationships typically last, like, long term? Because I know a couple for sure, but like, I think that those were the ones where the son or daughter didn't like their family to begin with and wasn't going to interact with them anyways. And so they just kind of went off and did their own thing. And the fact that their family didn't like their significant other wasn't a problem. But, like, I don't know too many things. Like, typically I feel like that's a predictor that you're probably going to break up in the future if your family and your significant other can't learn to
That
get
they
along.
don't get along.
No, that's funny that you asked that, because I almost did say earlier, as much as I would have hated to admit it at the time, my parents do know me better than anybody else. And again, I hate to say it, they were right in every instance where they told me, like, yeah, that's not going to work. And there's nothing worse than, you know, when you bring someone home you care about, and like, later on, and you think at the time they really like them, and then later you're talking to your mom on the phone, and she's like, oh yeah, her, right. But I have to admit that they were right every single time, and it's not, and, you know, I don't think that it's, I think it, like I said, it depends on the nature of the relationship.
Sure.
I'm just so close with my family that they know my tics and whatnot. And
Maybe an arranged marriage would work best for you, Will.
No, I think I'm good at this point. But.
Okay. I think my parents would have done a great job with an arranged marriage. Zach, I don't think we're going to get to cheating, but I'll give you the last word on the deal breakers if you'd like it.
Yeah, my parents respect me, I think. So they're not gonna like throw roadblocks in my way with my relationships. I think as long as, if my parents didn't like the person I brought home, as long as I knew why they didn't like them, I'd be okay.
Yeah. So it's contextual.
Yeah, I think so.
As relationships are, and love is.
Aw.
All subjective.
It is at that. Well, those are our thoughts about deal breakers, but we would like to hear in the comments what you think deal breakers are. And we'd also like you to like this video and subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Outstanding. Very good.